Hey everyone, Zach here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to drastically increase your editing workflow using proxy footage in Davinci Resolve. But let me explain what proxy footage even is before we get into it. So when you're creating proxy footage, all you're doing is you're copying your raw footage, and that copy is a much lower data size than your raw footage, which makes it a lot easier for your computer to process, which makes editing a lot smoother and a lot more efficient. So now that we've got that out of the way, I will show you how to create proxy footage in Davinci Resolve. So if you take a look at my screen, it's a completely empty workspace right now, which means I need to first import my footage. So to do that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Media tab at the very bottom, and some people, they drag in, their files using these drop downs here to access their volumes, but I don't do that. Whenever I'm working with footage, I already have everything organized prior to messing around inside of Davinci Resolve. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Finder, and then I'm going to go directly to my footage. And then once I've got that there, so this is my footage inside of this folder here. It has like Sony A1. If I was shooting like drone footage, I'd also have like DJI, all that stuff here. But anyways, this is my top level video right here, this footage. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that down here to the master section, and then it automatically keeps my folders organized in the same file structure that I have in Finder or in Windows Explorer if you're doing this on Windows. And so you see I have like my master folder and then footage, and then I have my footage labeled based on the year, month, and day that it happened, and then some context in the title about what this footage is actually about. And then below that, I have each folder named by the camera that I actually shot that footage on. And so with that selected, I can access all of my footage right here. And so the next step is to create proxy footage from this screen. But before we do that, let me show you an important step that you need to take so that you understand where your proxy footage is even going to land once you create it. So do me a favor and click the file window up top, and then go down to project settings. And then once you're in project settings, you can verify that everything is correct and how you want it here. But the main things that you need to take a look at are right here under optimize media and render cache. So proxy media resolution, I always set this to half, but depending on your setup, you can change this to be whatever you want to ensure that you have the most optimal experience for your specific situation. I always do half, and I'm running a 2022 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro, and I still prefer going half. Proxy media format, ProRes 422 HQ is fine, but I find that H.265 works better for me, so I keep it there. And then those are really the only two things that I mess with on that side of things. The next thing you want to take a look at is your working folders, which is your proxy generation location, your cache files location, and your gallery stills location. So only the proxy generation location is actually applicable with what we're doing right now, but it's good to just modify all of these at the same time. So what I like to do is I like to create working folders for each of these inside of the project folder that I'm working on at the time. So all I have to do is click browse, and then I'm going to go straight to my main project folder that I have for this project. And then I have a folder named project files. So I'm just going to go in there, and then I like to name another folder working folders. So I'm just going to click on new folder and then type in working folders. And then once I've done that, all I have to do is click open. And because I've done that, it'll automatically create another folder titled proxy media inside of that working folders folder that I just created inside of my main project folder for this specific project. So I'll go ahead and do that for all three. Boom. And now that I've done that, at least now I know once I create all of this proxy footage, I know where it's going to land on my computer. So now I'm going to go ahead and just click save, and then that is done. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to select a random clip here. Like I'll select this one, for example. By the way, if you're not seeing this in list view, you can always modify how you're viewing your footage right over here on the right side of the screen. I always prefer list view. It just gives me the best view that I prefer. Plus, once we've created the proxies, we'll be able to see the online status change from original to proxy, which is how we know that what we did actually worked. So now that I've done that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to select a random clip, and then I'm just going to press Command A. And what that's going to do is that's going to select everything. It's basically a select all for this section. So as long as you have at least one clip selected in this section, you press Command A on Mac, it's going to select everything. I'm not sure of the equivalent command on Windows. But once you've done that, all you have to do is right click and then go down to Generate Proxy Media. And what that's going to do is it's going to do exactly what we want it to, which is generating proxy media. So I'm going to let this complete, and it is finishing up. So now that it's finished up, if we're in this same list view and we scroll to the very right side, we can see that our online status for all of these clips is now proxy, which is great. That's exactly what we need. So now all of this footage has been imported into our project, and it's been transcoded to proxy footage. So now all we have to do is go to cut, and we can actually start cutting our project. But one thing that I want to show you is how smooth this process becomes once you create proxy footage. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to drag it all down to my timeline here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my edit tab because it makes scrubbing a lot easier. And I'm going to mute this just so that you're not hearing a bunch of noise on your side. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll through this footage. And I want you to see how smooth it is as I'm scrolling through. And then now that I've done that, I'm going to go up to playback, proxy handling, and I'm going to disable all of my proxies. So now we're dealing with the original footage, and I'm going to try and scroll the same speed. So you can kind of see my computer is a beefy computer, and it's trying its best to handle it, but it's just falling short, and it's not smooth. And if you're in here editing and you're trying to scrub, it's just not going to work well. And so to re-enable proxies, all I have to do is go back to playback, proxy handling, prefer proxies. So now that I've done that, I'm going to try the scroll test again, and boom, we're back to smooth and buttery scrolling. Now, the only thing that I recommend proxies for is actually putting together your edit, scrubbing through your timeline, and just all around putting everything together. Whenever you get to the color tab and you start color grading your footage, I recommend going up to playback, going to proxy handling, and disabling all proxies. And the reason for that is whenever you go through the process of creating this proxy footage, you are transcoding a lower quality version of your footage. Now, to the naked eye, you can't really tell, but whenever you're editing color on proxy footage, some of the color data in the background of that proxy footage may not be the same as your original footage. Like say you shoot your footage in 10-bit, well, your proxy may not be that full 10-bit quality, and so your colors may change based on if you're color grading your proxy footage or color grading your original footage. So anytime you get to the color tab, just switch off proxies, get your color edits done, and which should be okay because that's pretty much usually your last step depending on how you edit. But I hope this video helped you, and I hope it helped you understand how proxy footage can really speed up your editing workflow so that the entire process is a lot less painful. But yeah, that's how you do that. For those of you who are not familiar with myself or this channel, my name is Zach. I'm a brand strategist, but I'm also a videographer and photographer, and I manage a team of designers and photographers and all that good stuff. And my whole goal with this channel is to really help anyone who's trying to manage a brand or trying to get into the creative world for how to navigate that stuff. And so if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments below. Please don't forget to like this video if it helped you, and please go through and turn your notifications on for this channel if you find this type of content valuable, because I really am going to be a lot more intentional about uploading helpful things just like this. So I think that's it. I'll catch you in the next one.